Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tampa. I am Judy Lane, your worship associate. Welcome to this special space where you are invited to explore, grow, and become part of a community grounded in reason and love. Unitarian Universalism is a faith community seeking to live out our highest ethical ideals. We are not bound by dogma. We are bound together by our promise to work towards a world of justice and peace for all people. We are bound together by the common bond of humanity. This is a community and denomination which has a rich history of speaking truth to power, of seeking together ways to better tomorrow than we are today, and in walking the journey called life with appreciation, with respect for one another and for the world around us. Welcome to this place made sacred by your presence. The next part of our service is the stone ritual. So I will place this stone in my garden for good intentions. I will place this stone in my garden for our joys. I will place this stone in my garden for our concerns. No, I think I to light the chalice.
Thank you, Judy. Our words for chalice lighting this morning come from Laura Thompson. Across the distance, the light from within me shines, sending love to all. Across the distance, your light is fuel that warms me and helps to keep my own light burning. Together, we keep the flame of community burning bright. And our opening words for the service this morning come from Reverend Cynthia Landrum. Spirit of life and love, we gather together in different ways this morning, from computer screens, from telephones, from car radios. We gather, reaching out across the wires, waving from a safe distance to come together in religious community. From living room to front porch to car seat, we gather as we are able, ready to be of service to each other and to the world, ready to build the community of hope and of love. As we face this bright morning, we are apart, but we are together, offering our love, our commitment, our hope, and our prayers in service to one another and this world. It is a new way, but an old way that we have come together in worship today. Our opening hymn is number 6 from the hymnal, Just As Long As I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I
thank you. I've chosen a story this morning about love from Aesop. So, of course, this one has a moral. A butterfly once fell in love with a beautiful rose. The rose was not indifferent, for the butterfly's wings were powdered in a charming pattern of silver and gold. And so when he fluttered near and told her how he loved her, she blushed rosily and said yes. After much pretty lovemaking and many whispered vows of constancy, the butterfly took a tender leave of his sweetheart. But alas, it was a long time before he came back to her. "Is this your constancy?" she exclaimed tearfully. "It is ages since you went away, and all the time you've been carrying on with all sorts of flowers. I saw you kiss Miss Geranium and you fluttered around Miss Mignette until Honeybee chased you away. I wish he had stung you." "Constancy," laughed the butterfly. "I had no sooner left you than I saw Zephyr kissing you. You carried on scandalously with Mr. Bumblebee, and you made eyes at every single bug you could see. You can't expect any constancy from me." The lesson here: do not expect constancy in others if you have none yourself. Indeed. So ends the story. Our words for meditation this morning come from Muhammad Iqbal, entitled "The Journey of Love." Where in our hearts is that burning of desire? Is it true that we are made of dust and the world is also made of dust? But the dust has smokes rising. Whence comes that drive in us? We look to the starry sky and love storms in our hearts. Whence comes that storm? The journey of love is a very long journey, but sometimes with a sigh, you can cross that vast desert. Search and search again without losing hope. You may find sometime a treasure on your way. My heart and my eyes are all devoted to the vision. And now our music for meditation.
This is what I know. We are all connected. The universe reflected in each shining part. And everywhere I go, I recognize the faces. All of my relations in this one heart. And all I need is already looking through these eyes. Nearer than my breathing, closer than hands and feet, we are dreaming together all the gifts of heaven and earth. And so I receive all I can be. Now I let it go with such appreciation. With sheer exhilaration now I set it free. And so it is, and so be it. When I sing it, I can see it. I welcome us in, and now we begin. We begin.
And thank you. February 14th, as virtually all of us know, is celebrated as St. Valentine's Day. It's a day to love and to feel loved. We recognize Valentine's Day as a celebration of personal love. Does that somehow differ from, say, love for church, or love for puppies, or cheesecake? I don't know for sure, but love is love, isn't it? Before the Roman Catholic Church became all-powerful in the 4th century of the Common Era, a pagan fertility festival called Lupercalia was celebrated about this time of year. Of course, the early Christian church tried to replace as many pagan celebrations as they could in their effort to convert everyone in the world to Christianity. And so the Roman Pope, Gelasius, sometime around 600 of the Common Era, declared that February 14th would be St. Valentine's Day. The day was to honor the patron saint of couples, love, lovers, and beekeepers. Beekeepers? Go figure. Or maybe it was declared in order to honor the other St. Valentine. That's right, there were 2 of them. And the historical record is unclear. At any rate, Valentine's Day slowly morphed into the celebration of romance and love and commercial interests that we are now familiar with. And all that makes this Sunday a good Sunday to talk about love. A few years ago, a congregant in a different church, mind you, gave me a book for Christmas. It's titled The Essential Book of Useless Information. The giver was someone who probably knew that I like to somehow incorporate in my Sunday messages at least something from most of the things that I have read. So I wondered for a while if there were a hidden message in this gift, something like, what we need around here is more useless information. So what better time than now to weigh the value of this oracle of knowledge as we examine today what love is and what it means. So here you go, from the section of this book on love and marriage. First, there is a study that shows that people who kiss their spouse goodbye in the morning tend to make more money. There is no indication as to causality, however. Do better paid people tend to feel more affectionate? Or does the kiss render you more productive and hence more valuable to your employer? Assuming it's the latter, why not experiment? Be certain to kiss your spouse every day and see if you get a raise. No spouse? Perhaps you could substitute your neighbor or your mail carrier. In any event, it's only fair that since you heard it here, you share your newfound monetary wealth with your church at the next annual pledge drive. And here's another of these useless tidbits. Did you know that 2/3 of people tilt their heads to the right when kissing? I'll give you a moment to figure out whether you're normal or one of those people who are different. I'm wondering if it's about which hand is dominant. I'm left-handed, and I think I tilt to the left. Most of the time, that is. But these seemingly random facts don't really say much about what love is, do they? Indeed, many of us find it difficult to put love's definition into words. Is it a feeling? Merely an emotion? Or is it more fundamentally a spiritual experience? I, for one, think of love as a deep spiritual experience. For those of us who wonder just what this spirituality business is all about, I cite love as perhaps the prime example of how we experience spirituality. You may recall that my sermon a couple of weeks ago addressed spirituality and the human spirit. And you may recall my saying that defining love or other spiritual experiences, well, they're not easy to put into words. So we humans turn to the arts, to poetry and music. We get out of our analytically burdened left brains and into our right minds. Love is about our connectedness with the world and our fellow beings in this world. Analysis of this connection seems to simply fall short. Even painful love is best expressed poetically and in music. Indeed, we've heard over the course of our lives many such expressions. Even prose meant to demonstrate love's meaning often waxes poetic. I too think of songs and poetry on the occasion of St. Valentine's Day. Love Stinks is a good example. It's the title song on a 1980 rock and roll album by the J. Giles Band. It's about unrequited love and all the pain that goes with that experience. But it wasn't a distant memory of a 40-plus-year-old rock song from a band that no longer exists that led to today's theme. It was, of course, the ads on TV. At this point, I need to explain a bit, since so many UUs brag about not watching any TV at all, not even the Super Bowl, which, by the way, is today. I remember there were these commercials running on TV a few years ago that touted a floor cleaning tool, Swiffle or Swiffy or Swiffer or something like that. They used to show some attractive young woman. Yes, I know I didn't need to say that. And I should give credit that at least some commercials have gotten more diverse recently. Yet all TV commercials feature attractive young people, and women actors are the norm when the ads are for cleaning products. Why do you suppose that is? Anyway, in that older commercial, she's happily using this highly touted product, but she has banished her poor old loving sponge mop to the ash heap. With a little animation assistance, the rejected sponge mop breaks into the chorus, "Love stinks." Ah, the rejection, the pain of unrequited love. Actually, the first verse of this J. Giles Band song from 1980 goes like this. You love her, but she loves him, and he loves somebody else. You just can't win. And so it goes till the day you die. This thing they call love, it's going to make you cry. I've had the blues, the reds and the pinks. One thing for sure, love stinks. Okay, it's a little satirical. Love doesn't really stink, but there is no doubt that it can frustrate, depress, and be awfully easy to lose. In another experience from a few years ago, I happened across a blog written by a marketing guru named John Carlton, a completely unfamiliar name to me. He talks about how entrepreneurs need to love what they do, yet to realize that love is not all powerful, is full of contradiction, and, quote, will constantly challenge you, even dare you to abandon it, end quote. Carlton refers to what I take to be a material vision of love. One I'm not so sure is universally healthy to embrace. However, I certainly think his observations are applicable to agape, or brotherly love, and eros, or romantic love, the kinds of love we're most apt to be interested in within a religious community. Love is not the most powerful emotion humans possess, Carlton asserts. Rather, he argues for fear, rage, and greed as far more powerful motivating emotions. But as the Apostle Paul stated in his first biblical letter to the Corinthians, we may have knowledge and faith to move mountains, but if we do not have love, we are nothing. On the one hand, fear, rage, and greed need no nurturing and can consume entire realities like an invading predator. We need not work at these. On the other hand, we do need to work at love. It is fragile. It requires our constant energy and attention. Yet it is essential to a meaningful life, as Paul's letter reminds us. You've got to want to love. You've got to pursue it. You need to know where it can be found, and you have to commit to it in spite of its unpredictability. Love comes with no guarantees. You cannot force it upon others, and it can die without constant, diligent nurturing. And sometimes it can run up against those stronger emotional predators out there. And we may find it temporarily malodorous. I think we Unitarian Universalists ought to be pretty good at love and loving. Our own religious outlooks, our theologies are themselves fragile and in need of constant attention, and sometimes both frustrating and surprising. After all, no one hands us a handbook of proper UU beliefs when we walk in the door. Handbook of proper UU beliefs. Love is like that too. It's frustrating, fragile, and inevitably surprising. Yet love does not stink. It does not have to end in disappointment, in blues and reds and pinks. In fact, the second verse of the J. Giles Band Love song gets at that very phenomenon. Love not ending in disappointment. It goes like this: 2 by 2 and side by side. Love's gonna find you. Yes, it is. You just can't hide. You'll hear it call. Your heart will fall. Then love will fly. It's gonna soar. Unfortunately, they revert to the original theme as this verse ends. I don't care for any Casanova thing. All I can say is love stinks. I don't know why they couldn't just leave it with the prior image. Then love will fly, it's gonna soar. I suppose because of a need to maintain consistency with the title, not to mention that they had a couple of bars to fill musically. And we think about the beauty of love. You'll hear it call, your heart will fall. But our inner musician cannot be satisfied without something, superfluous words in this case, to fill the measures that our ears expect to have filled. The measures that our ears expect to have filled. You should know that my role here has been as a temporary contract minister and not a called minister. A principal difference is that a contract minister is hired by the church board for a fixed period of time. My agreement with the church is for 1 year, which ends in August. It is my sincere hope that the UU Church of Tampa will find a minister this spring, one who is equipped to be with you for several years. And I have faith that love will prevail. Indeed, I very much hope that when you connect with that new minister, you'll see, then love will fly. It's gonna soar. And this congregation will then be back on the road to a healthy, loving future. May it be so, and amen. Our closing hymn is number 131. Love will guide us.
Love will guide us, peace has dried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can hear from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has dried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you, Dean. If you wish to contribute to the life and work of this community of liberal faith, you may do so by going to the church website, uutampa.org, and you'll find on the homepage a link to how you can make a contribution to the church online. And of course, checks in the mail are always welcome as well and helpful for maintaining this church and its future. Our closing words today for Extinguishing the Chalice come from Maggie Lovins. We extinguish this flame, but not its meaning and mission in our hearts. Our time together has come to an end. Go in peace, be of service to one another, and may you move through the world in love for all of your days. Indeed, let us go make love and peace.